Hello and welcome to EB5 Investment Report. I'm Amy Rios. Recently, we spoke with Andre Hurst, founder of Hawaiian Islands Regional Center, about their first project, an assisted living facility on the island of Hilo. EB5 investors for the project have already received their I-526 approvals, the first one in just 16 days. They are now awaiting approval for their I-829s. Hurst also discussed his expansion to California, where there is a huge demand for assisted living facilities. We're here with Andre Hurst of Hawaiian Islands Regional Center. Welcome to the show, Andre.
Thank you.
Can you give us a little background on how and why you got involved with the EB5 program?
Well, the EB5 program was always of interest to me. Approximately about 6 years ago, we got introduced. My background has been real estate development and healthcare. In my prior life, I was the regional vice president for Catholic Health Initiative, which was a hospital system and clinic system. So I'd always been familiar with healthcare. Got into development and then heard about EB5. With my background and with the people that I knew, it seemed like a good segue into healthcare, specifically assisted living and skilled nursing facilities.
So I understand that you do your projects in Hawaii, but you live here in California. Can you explain?
Correct. We have a regional center in Hawaii, which is Hawaiian Islands Regional Center. And then in addition, we have a regional center in California. And so our main projects have been in Hawaii, and now we're going to be expanding out to California in the assisted living, just based on the growth of the elderly population and the demand.
So can you tell us about those projects? Are any complete, and what stage are we in with those?
Yeah, our first project was in Hilo, Hawaii, on the Big Island, and it was a 100-bed skilled nursing facility. It's going to be opening its doors here in about a month. And we received all our 526 approval. Our first was within 16 days.
Wow.
And now we are in the 829 stage, and our first 4 investors are going for their 829s, and they've been submitted to the government.
Who was instrumental in helping you form your regional center and get your designation?
At the very beginning, we used Wright Johnson. And Kevin Wright and I started knowing each other about 5 years ago, right when we started getting our designation, and pretty much took care of the whole thing for us. I think our 16-day approval was based on the information that we had. Our business plan was solid, our econometric report was solid, and Kevin reviewed all those and looked for any of the problems that might arise with USCIS. And I think USCIS knows his product now, so whenever they see Wright Johnson on there, it helps with them, the adjudicators, knowing that the project is, has been scrubbed and it's ready to go.
Now, how will your projects affect the area that they're being developed in Hawaii? Are these TEAs?
Yeah, Hawaii, for the most part, except for Honolulu, is all a TEA area. And specifically Hilo, its unemployment rate is a little bit higher. So we're going to be adding approximately 300 jobs to Hilo within our econometric report. So the city of Hilo and the local and state representatives of Hawaii were very thrilled that we were going to be doing a facility and a healthcare facility, because the native Hawaiians and the people that go over to Hawaii to retire need healthcare. They need maybe a step level above being able to live at home, so they need to go into the assisted living, the skilled nursing facilities. Our next project will be in Maui, and that'll be 170 beds, which will be assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. And so the city of Maui is extremely excited about that, because their memory care facility, their skilled nursing, the newest facility is 60 years old, and it's in an old sanitarium in Maui. So having a new building will be kind of a breath of fresh air. We have some other projects that we're still looking at in the Hawaiian Islands, but because California is still the fastest growing area, and the government in California has been good to work with as far as the EB5 and the TEA designations. We're able to look at a lot more area, and the demand is just skyrocketing in California for healthcare.
Why should investors choose your regional center and your projects?
You know, I think an investor has to look at a record of a regional center and the product. We've had record 526 approval as far as timing. We have our 829s in, expect them shortly. The jobs have been created, so we know that we're good on that. And I think the product, it's healthcare. You know, the population of 65 and older is going to quadruple here because of all the baby boomers. So you have to go into an industry that's going to be supported. Mm-hmm. And currently in California, just in the region that we're looking at, there's a shortage of 4,000 beds of assisted living and skilled nursing that they can't meet right now. Mm-hmm. And it's very employment intensive. And I think the government now is getting more and more into financing the assisted living and skilled nursing, where before they really hadn't, because they see the demand and they see that this is an integral part of the healthcare in the United States especially. I think location too, you're looking at California opposed to some other locations, maybe in South Dakota. Mm-hmm. There's a demand for business in California. And our history with our managers, mine has been in healthcare. I understand healthcare. I understand how to look at a business and say, you know, this will be profitable. This will be able to refinance our investors out of the project at the end of the 5 years. The government has put in place a solid refinancing program through the HUD 232 program, which basically guarantees the refinance of that facility at the end. So our investors, I think, look at the whole picture and they see the track record, they see the location, and they see the exit strategy. And I believe they see that as a winning combination.
How long did it take for you to get your USCIS approval?
Our first approval came actually within 7 months, which at that time was extremely fast. Mm-hmm. We received one RFI from USCIS, which was a very simple RFI. We gave it back to them, and because I had some relationships with USCIS and had some communication with them, we were able to expedite the approval process also.
What were some of the biggest challenges and obstacles that you faced in getting your regional center designation?
I think the main challenge was, you know, the EB5 program is constantly evolving and changing, and they set new rules and different guidelines. And I try to stay up on the guidelines as much as possible. I'm in constant contact with groups like Wright Johnson. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Wright specifically, and letting me know if there's been any type of change in the program, or if they want to start seeing something new that we haven't provided. So that was the biggest obstacle, is just getting that information. But once you have that information and you have, in essence, your team giving you the information that you need, it's a relatively simple process. And like I said, we've been successful with our projects, especially with our 526 exemplars. We try to do an exemplar on each project so that we know that the project's pre-approved and ready to go for investors.
Andre, can you tell us what role Wright Johnson played in receiving your designation and doing your economic studies and your business plan?
Wright Johnson was extremely instrumental, especially with Kevin Wright. Kevin and I were on the phone constantly when we were doing our initial designation. They did our econometrics plan, but they did so much more as far as reviewing our business plan, reviewing our offering documents, and things that weren't necessarily agreed upon as far as what they're going to be compensated for or not. But Kevin really kind of just said, I want to make sure that this project is solid and it's good. And I think that's kind of how he treats all his people that he deals with. In addition, I think he advised on our strengths and weaknesses and where we needed to strengthen our business plan At first we were going to go in with more investors, and he advised us to go lower so that we had that buffer for the job creation. And so I don't think that we would have gotten our 526 approvals as quick as we did if we didn't have the guidance that Wright Johnson provided for us. In addition, they have now done the 829 and the econometric and advising on that process, which has helped us extraordinarily and kept us up to date on any of the new changes that the government might want to see with the requirements for the 829 stage.
What do you see as some of the hottest topics in EB5 right now are, and is it affecting you?
I think a lot of the projects out there need some government oversight. One of our biggest key values with our company is protecting our investors. And we've had several investors come to us where they have actually lost money with other regional centers because maybe their money was escrowed for a year, 2 years, 3 years prior to even getting a 526 approval. And I just don't think that's right.
So how do you protect your investors?
Making the project job creation high so that there's enough of a buffer zone there so that at the 829 stage, such as in our project in Hilo, there won't be any issue as far as the amount of jobs created. We've created more jobs than we needed actually for the investors. I think another way that we protect our investors is we look at our project and we see, as I mentioned before, the exit strategy. So for example, in the healthcare, we use a government guaranteed loan that we know that the value is there that will refinance our investors out with no problem. We have the experts in the field as far as refinance with the banks, with our econometrics, with like Wright Johnson, and our attorneys, that we have all the data that we need to ensure and to give to our investors to show there's no problem with your investment and this is how you're going to get your money back.
Andre, can you tell me what you wish you knew when you first started your EB5 journey that you now know?
I wish I knew what USCIS was going to do next, but that's still a changing.
I think everyone
changing target.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'm pretty happy with our record. I'm pretty happy of how we've done things. We haven't rushed with projects. We've our investors have all been quality investors and quality people. We've hosted a lot of the investors actually out to Hawaii to meet with them, to meet their families. So it's not just an investor number, it's a person. And I think that's sometimes lost in the EB5 process. I think too many times it's viewed as get as many investors as you can, and sometimes these regional centers forget there's actually people and families that are trying to live the American dream.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Andre.
Thank you very much.
Hawaiian Islands Regional Center's assisted living and skilled nursing facility is expected to create approximately 300 jobs and is slated to open in August 2014. Their next project on the island of Maui is also an assisted living and skilled nursing facility with memory care, and they are currently in the I-526 approval phase. Assisted living facilities are a big trend in EB5, and Hurst plans to support the demand not only in Hawaii, but in California. I'm Amy Rios, and I want to thank you for watching EB5 Investment Report.